When I lost 30 pounds, I did it without detox teas, without 75 hard, and without my knees hating me from all of the running. And if you see all these 4 things that I did, then you can do the same too. By the end of this video, you will know the exact nutrition system that I used that didn't mean that I had to track calories forever, my golden rule for staying consistent, and the weird score that I gave myself each week that told me whether I needed a diet break or not. So let's get into it and start with the meat and potatoes, quite literally, my nutrition plan. I started with intermittent calorie tracking. Think of it like checking your bank account. You don't need to do it every day, but if you want to save and you know that things are starting to get a little bit reckless, you reviewing what is coming in and what is going out is going to be very useful. I didn't do it for my whole diet, but you know when you have those portion creep moments? Well, I very much needed to be given the awareness that my pasta portion was actually suitable for a family of 4, and that what I thought was just 10 grams of Lurpak salted butter was in fact 40 grams and 4 times the amount of calories. The other thing that I did on top of calorie tracking was have 2 to 3 go-to meals for breakfast and lunch. And I kept them very boring on purpose, protein dense with some sort of fruit or veg. By doing this, I reduced decision fatigue so I didn't have to overthink every single meal, but critically, I kept more flexibility for my evening meals, which is when I wanted it, because that's family time. I also calorie cycled, whereby during the week, I would eat 300 fewer calories per day, which meant that come the weekend, I had a lot more flexibility for meals out, for brunch, and for a bit of alcohol. And there was a study published in Obesity Reviews that supports this. Flexible dieting leads to better adherence than rigid plans. Translation, you are more likely to stick with something that doesn't make you hate your life. And no, calorie tracking did not ruin my relationship with food. In fact, it did the opposite. It showed me that I could have foods I like in moderation whilst losing weight, but it did ruin my relationship with butter, I must say. Then when I had my portions nailed, I moved to the plate method and intuitive eating. I also had a hard ban on liquid calories and condiments, not because they're inherently fattening, a calorie is a calorie. However, I would rather my energy comes from real foods, not just fillers. Next up was my movement plan. And no, I was not chained to the Stairmaster or the elliptical. I gave myself a weekly step target. Not daily, because some days I am chained to my desk on back-to-back Zoom calls. But I would do my best to ramp things up on the evenings and the weekends to meet that weekly target. I also did resistance training 4 times per week. And I didn't do this to torch calories, I did this to retain the important muscle. I wanted to look toned at the end of my diet, not just skin and bone, and muscle is really, really important real estate to make that happen. Not to mention the health risks that come with muscle atrophy. I did also do a few social runs in the week, but no more than 1 per week. When I went above that, I would just be completely starving. And because of that, adhering to my calories became a real struggle, so there was diminishing returns. Next up was staying the course, and this is where most people struggle. They don't stay consistent, which is why the weight comes on and off. So here is the golden rule that I lived by during my diet. Don't fuck it up twice in a row. If I had a rubbish meal or overate, fine, but move on. Just like if I missed a workout, that's okay, but I was not allowed to miss the next one. That kept momentum and inertia intact, but overeating just because you've already ruined it would be like me spitting a little bit of this on my t-shirt and then pouring the whole thing on my head, which I'm not going to do. Consistency is not about never screwing up, but it is about not letting your bad moments multiply. I had meals out, I had holidays, but I also had self-compassion. And funny enough, this has been shown to increase consistency. Being kind to yourself isn't soft, it is a really worthwhile strategy. Finally, we have data, and I tracked 3 things during my diet. And none of them were the calorie burn on my Apple Watch. Firstly, I weighed myself daily when I could. Obviously, when I was traveling, this was easier said than done. And I didn't let myself freak out over daily fluctuations, which would have happened years ago. I just took the average for the week and compared that average. Now, if you're someone whose habits do change as a result of what you see on the scales, I don't think you need to weigh yourself at all when you're on a diet. Ultimately, you know how you're feeling and you know when you are on or off track, but I liked the accountability that the scales gave me. And if you are weighing yourself, remember this, your daily weigh-ins will be a bit like the stock market. There will be a bit of chaos there, but as long as the overall trend is in the direction that you're aiming for, you are totally fine. Second, I took progress pictures like these every 2 weeks, because there were plenty of moments where the scales didn't move at all, But that didn't mean that my body wasn't changing, and boy, it did. And finally, I gave myself a weekly score. I marked myself out of 10 for adherence, for energy, and for my happiness. And if 2 of those dropped, then I gave myself a diet break. I increased my calories and I refilled the tank to get the spark back. And I did that 3 times during my journey with no guilt whatsoever. It was a refusal to white knuckle myself towards burnout. So to recap, I didn't cut carbs, I didn't run every single day, I didn't track every gram forever. I built a system that fit my life and I stuck to that about 90% of the time. And if you want to be put through a plan like this, one that works and meets you where you are at, head to fatlossfundamentals.co.uk and let's build your blueprint. And next time you see a fitness influencer tell you that they lost 30 pounds without eating bread, just remember that I had mine buttered.